So recently I got my hands on the Daiwa Tatula XT rods, and I have some very strong opinions on it, and I wanted to cover it in today's video. So buckle up, let's get into it. Now before I go into all of the features and my opinions on it, let's go over the specs on the rod that I have right here. Now this one right here is the Tatula XT 701 MFS. So this is the 7-foot medium power. This is a fast action rod. The guides are coming in at 8 guides. The line weight is 6 to 14 pound. Lure weight is 1/8 to 3/4 ounce. This is a one-piece rod, and it is coming in at around $99.99. Now the features that really stuck out to me on this rod were these 3 right here. And this is going to be the X45 carbon rod construction. It's going to be the Fuji aluminum oxide guides and the Braiding X carbon weave on the rod blank. Now as for looks, the Tatula XT is a very sleek looking rod. They kept the rod very skinny throughout your handle area. There's not a lot of bulkiness. It's very slick all the way through. They kept it with the EVA foam right in here, and then the rod itself is pretty much all black. They do have like a nice weaving right here at the very front of the blank with the nice silver Tatula logo on the side. This is a split grip rod going through, and then they also have just kind of a couple other little like accents, like kind of right in here. They have just kind of your silver and like your shiny black, for your real kind of handle area. So yeah, overall extremely sleek setup. I love the look. It pairs up very well with reels that are like a silver and then maybe like one other color. You know, that other color really pops when you mix it on a rod like this. So yeah, very sleek rod overall. It looks freaking sweet. It looks very different from pretty much all other rods in that $100 price range, but in my opinion, it's a good different. It definitely looks very high-end in your hands, and I believe this rod has some Japanese inspiration going into it, which would explain why it looks like this. Now, as for versatility and function, this is a great all-around bass rod. They do have a bunch of other models on their website. The medium fast right here, this is, like I said, this is the 7-1 medium fast. This is kind of your perfect jack-of-all-trades bass rod. You know, it can kind of do a little bit of everything. They do have a medium light model that I think would be a fantastic drop shot setup. If you needed just like an ultra finesse, spinning rod to break down like a certain spot, that would be a great option for it as well. They also have a couple medium heavies and a couple other kind of niche sizes in there as well, depending on what you need. So as for versatility, they got you covered there. Now, as for the durability and build quality, this rod has some pretty cool features in it that really help it out on this category. One of them is the braided weave on the rod blank and then the X45 carbon construction. Both of those two technologies are helping the rod bend, right? Still giving it that sensitivity and that bend you need on a bass rod, but while also not sacrificing any integrity on twists and turns and different movements. So it's a great middle ground that they built into this rod in terms of your durability factor and your sensitivity and overall bite detection, right? It's a great middle ground between those two, and those technologies really helped make this rod what it is. Now, I haven't put this rod up to any extreme tests yet, but I will say it's holding up great for me so far. So just keep that in mind. I haven't done anything super rough with it so far, but every situation I've put it through, whether it's hook sets or, drop it on my boat deck or something along those lines, it's held up perfectly fine for me. Now, as for the overall feel and sensitivity, this rod does a fantastic job. This is where, in my opinion, it really starts to rise above the rest of those rods in that $100 price range. It does a great job at detecting bites. I used to think that this rod and the Shimano SLX rod kind of battled it out for that, the best rod under $100, but after using this rod now, there is, in terms of the overall sensitivity, there is no competition between the two. This rod is so much more sensitive in terms of feeling bites, and it just feels so good in your hand to fish all day. So yeah, Daiwa definitely killed it on that aspect. Now, one thing on the overall feel / usage of this rod that I'm not a big fan of is that they put the hook keeper down at the bottom of the rod. Some of you may like that, right? Some of you may like the hook keeper down here, but I personally don't. I like the hook hook keeper up top right in front of you. I feel like it's just kind of annoying when you let line out. The way that this thing is sitting in the back here, it can be very tough to put a bait through that. Like they made it so that it's faced down, but it's also flush with the rod, which I understand they're trying to, not have it stick out at all, but it makes it really hard to put a hook through that, especially if it's like a crankbait or something along those lines. It's kind of difficult. So I wish they would have put it right up here in the front of the rod. And even if they decided to go with that flush design, at least make it stick out a little bit more so that you could get a large hook through that. Now, as for casting, this rod does a great job. It's got a nice load up here. It really, it can help you bomb those Ned rigs and drop shots and whatever you need out there. I don't really have too much to say on the casting portion of this because I feel like that's more important on things like your bait cast reels. But yeah, does a great job on that as well. Now, as for price, if you were to give me this rod and have me fish with it, I would probably say that this rod costs $150 to $200. If I'm being 100% honest, this rod feels so much nicer than what it actually costs. Like I was very shocked when I saw these in my local tackle shop and I was like, oh my goodness, like this thing looks sweet. How much is it? And I checked the price tag and I saw $99.99 on it. I mean, I was kind of blown away. And now that I've got to fish with it, all my first impressions I got with this rod, all of it carried right into my fishing experience, and I was extremely happy. So there is a reason why on my last video I did, it was the top 5, fishing rods under $100. There is a reason why this rod was ranked number 1 on that list, and it is just because of the overall features that Daiwa packed into this. For the money, there is, in my opinion, there's very few rods that even come close to touching this rod. This is a phenomenal bass rod. For any of you wanting a rod under $100, holy smokes, this is an incredible bang for your buck. Now, I actually pair this rod up with a Shimano reel. However, if you wanted to pair it up with a Daiwa on here, your Exceller LT, your Fuego LT, your Tatula LT, any of those Daiwa LT reels would fit great on this rod, and it would be an awesome overall matchup, especially if you went with something like the Regal, or you went with something, somewhere in that price range. You could be getting a, spinning rod and reel under $200 that is just phenomenal. I mean, that is going to be the lightest, most sensitive setup you can get for that price range. Now, I'm sure the heavier models of this rod are going to fish great as well, but where I really think this rod excels, it's on its finesse side. Your 7-foot medium fasts, your 7-foot medium lights, those types of rods is where this really excels. So if you guys are wanting a good bang for your buck finesse rod, I don't think there's a better option on the market right now than the Tatula XT. Let's go over the pros and cons of this guy here real quick. So as for the pros, right, it looks great. It's got an awesome build to it. The all black looks really sleek. Also, the build quality. The features they put into this rod and how it's built makes it, just a super durable and sensitive rod. Also, like I said, the sensitivity, right? This is a super sensitive rod, great for all those finesse applications. And then the price, right? This is just a phenomenal price for this rod. I think your bang for your buck is extremely high on this rod. Now, as for the cons, the one con I had was the hook keeper. I don't think that hook keeper is in a great spot. It makes it a little inconvenient to hook up baits on the rod, but, that's, I know it's not a huge con, but it's something that I did want to add on this because, it does take a couple extra seconds to get that bait fitted on there. As for a rating here, I'm giving this rod a 9.5 out of 10. If the hook keeper thing was on there, I would probably be close to giving this a 10 out of 10. I don't think there's much more to improve on this rod. I think this rod is almost as high as you can get in terms of my ratings. This is a phenomenal rod. Daiwa absolutely killed it on this rod, and this is coming from a Shimano guy, right? I'm a little biased. I'm a Shimano fan, but Daiwa smacked it with this rod, and I cannot wait to get this out on my next trip and continue fishing with it. I love this rod. If you guys want to see a reel that would pair up really well with this rod, I will put one of those right here. If you guys want to see a couple other rods that fish very well like this one, I will put that video right here for you. Hopefully you guys got a kick out of today's episode. Hopefully you learned something. We'll see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.